breaking up a little bit, but I think I can hear you.
Yeah, we got
Yeah,
you. I can hear you, brother.
we can hear you. You're good to go.
What is up? This is Metal Gets Me High,
All right,
episode 25.
let me make.
We got a very special guest. We got Quentin from Tribal Gaze. You there?
Hello,
What's
hello.
up,
I'm here.
man? Okay, cool. Well, man, thank you for joining us. I think I could speak for the three of us. Your album you guys put out on, mind you, one of the most poppin' release days of the year. I feel like has been a standout, and that shit is. I listen to that album once every other day. It's incredible, man. So for a young band, congratulations.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that, man.
Yeah, man, you
Like,
guys killed that shit.
yeah,
I see
like
you got
the
the.
thing. Yeah, we got to we got the chance to catch you guys. We saw you at the Oakland show of the Creeping Death 200 Stab Wound show, and uh, I'd been a fan of
Oh,
Godless
okay.
Voyage,
All right.
and we it was a no brainer. We had to get there early to catch you guys, and you guys kill it, man. Like you guys are really tight. You played very well. All the drumming was tight. Freaking your guys' lead singer, very charismatic, very good energy. I was thoroughly impressed, especially being that you guys are a young band from what we've been told.
Yeah, yeah. We've been playing shows for a little over a year and a half.
That's
So
crazy.
it's pretty
Like
cool to go on the tour and respond about it.
being a new
Yeah.
band, what was being on tour like for you guys? How was your experience with that?
It was almost too good to be true. Like it was such a. It was pretty much like it was better than we expected for sure. We
Okay.
got really lucky. We didn't have any van issues. We didn't have to. We'd have to drop any shows. Well, there was one show that we did, but we picked it up last minute, and then we had to drop it last minute. But as far as like the main tour dates, we were able to make it to them all, and it was definitely the most fun I've ever had. I can't wait to do it again. It's pretty weird just being at home when you do that for 5 weeks with like some of your best friends, and then you just kind of go back to normal life. It's kind of weird.
I can
Yeah, you know
imagine.
what? Yeah, it looked like you guys when we had a chance to see you, looked like everybody was genuinely having fun on stage. Like you guys set the tone so high for all the bands because we got there specifically early to see you guys. And yeah, you guys fucking blew the roof off the place.
Fuck you,
Hey, sorry, I got kitty issue.
dude. Thank you. I'm
Yeah.
glad.
Choke that kitty.
Well, like, how did you guys form being a younger band? Did you guys all like come up from the same scene and play in similar bands, or?
Well, me, Ian, our other guitarist, and our
Mhm.
bassist, we've been best friends since we were like 14, and we did some like bullshit bands like about 10 years ago or so, but like, and then me and Ian had another band like 5 or 6 years ago, but we didn't really do anything. We never really left the city. We just kind of just did local shit, and
Okay.
during the pandemic, we are just bored, so we got Kenna, who, and we're all pretty much from the same area. We us four got together, started working on the album, and then Caesar. We met Caesar actually on Instagram. Our drummer. We met him on Instagram a little bit after Godless Voyage came out, and then we got together and
Okay.
started working on new music like right after that. So, but the main four, we've always been together. So
Oh hell
Nice.
yeah, that's
That's
dope.
cool to
It's
hear
cool
that you
that you
guys are
guys
all
have that. Yeah, they have
in the
that
same
chemistry.
area.
Yeah.
Well, my
yeah,
favorite thing about your guys' latest album, the thing that just sticks out is the guitar. The only way that I could describe it is it's big and menacing. Like it sounds like you guys recorded on cabs the size of skyscrapers. I don't know if that makes sense, but like that's the thing that stands out to me. I'm a sucker for riffs, and you guys brought it. What if I'm not mistaken? Taylor Young had some work with your album. How did that happen? What made you guys want to work with Taylor?
Taylor has been my favorite producer for as pretty much as long as he's been doing it. And so whenever we got on Maggot Stomp and we got a budget to send our stuff to a bigger studio to be produced, because I did a lot of the tracking at my house. We tracked vocals at Kenneth's house. We tracked the drums at a studio in Austin where Iron Age recorded in Mammoth Grinder. And then
Okay.
we tracked the guitars at my house. And then we put it all together and we sent it to him. Because I believe him and Scott are good friends. And so whenever Scott asked, who we wanted to do the album, I can't remember if I brought it up or if he did, but that was the first name. It was that immediately. So
Yeah,
That's so
yeah.
sick. You're
we
right,
knew we were
because
gonna.
anything he puts out, I'm like, I'm gonna check it out. But I had a lot of hype because I listened to Hardlore and Colin's like, man, this tribal gaze, and then seeing you guys, it certainly delivered, even with high expectations that I had, man.
Fuck yeah, it makes me happy. Dude. I'm glad we did.
Hell yeah. How'd you guys end up like signing with or working with Maggot Stomp? Did that just kind of come out of the blue? Did they hit you up? How'd that happen?
Yeah, pretty much. Trying to think. I think it was the first week of January, I believe. He just sent us an email, and he said something kind of funny. I don't remember exactly what it was, but it was like, so I think he said like, "Why aren't y'all bigger?" or something. It was something that we didn't really know how to take. We didn't know how to respond to it, and we looked at that email for like 2 days, and we're like, "What do we say to this?" And we sent him some big formal where we're doing our best, we're trying to go like blah 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 blah, and then he messaged back a couple days later, and he was like, "Oh, sorry if that sounded dickish." I was just like curious, like basically saying he liked our stuff and he was confused on why we weren't bigger,
Yeah,
but we didn't
yeah.
know what that meant, honestly.
It's
No,
fair.
that
And
that's
then
such
pretty much
a
right
high
after that, we
compliment.
just
Yeah.
started talking, and he was like, "Hey," he's like, "Hey, let me let's see what we can do about putting out y'all's next release." And we're like, "All right, let's do it." And it was a smooth transition from Desert Wastelands because we're really good friends with Sean. So
Mhm.
yeah, it was just it was a no brainer. It seemed like the thing to do. I'm glad we did. Scott's great.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, seems like everything aligned pretty perfectly for this release, and it really shows. Who I gotta ask, who made you want to pick up a guitar?
Um, Guitar Hero 2, honestly.
Hell
Okay.
Hell
yeah.
yeah.
I'm a
Um,
Guitar Hero person myself.
I take it you can play on expert. I could never get there.
so when I was,
He's not orange button.
oh yeah, I think I was 11. I was 11 when it came out. I think I was 10 or 11, and there is like there's like bonus scenes or whatever you can unlock in the DLC, and it
Yeah.
had the guy sitting there playing Madhouse with a V, and I watched that bonus that little whatever DLC video over and over again, trying to figure out like he was palm muting. I didn't know what he was doing to make like chugs happen, and I remember I just got into
Okay.
guitar and I was like so into metal, but I didn't understand like what palm muting was. And I remember seeing him play that song, and I was like, I just want to play like whatever the fuck that is. So that's what got me going with metal and guitar and all that.
Oh, that's sick to
Hell
hear.
yeah. The Guitar Hero is goated. They had some fucking awesome songs in there that really opened up some people. Like that was probably playing Guitar Hero was like the first exposure to any sort of rock music or any sort of like, guitar music as a kid. I grew up listening to like hip hop and shit like that, but that was like the first exposure I ever had to it.
With
Yeah,
you
pretty
guys
much
being
same,
from
honestly.
Yeah.
sorry for interrupting. But like you guys come from a very competitive scene, which is the Texas scene. You guys have so much good hardcore metal punk coming out of there. Like, how did you guys come up in that scene? Is it highly competitive?
So, not really. Um,
Okay.
I don't think anybody's really trying to outdo each other per se, but it is like there is a standard, and it's like you have so many good bands that like you want to make something that stands out, and you want to make something that like has its own place in the scene. And I think right now there's a pretty diverse selection of death metal bands and hardcore bands because everybody does want to have their own sound. I don't think there's a bunch of clones in our scene really. I think it's pretty diverse, and I mean, a few of us have always kind of gone to like the hardcore shows and stuff, so we kind of knew. Like I've known Chad from Frozen Soul for like 11 or 12 years.
Okay.
We've known some of the dudes in Creeping Death for quite a while. So whenever we started the band, we figured, at some point we'll play with them or whatever. But we've been pretty fortunate to be asked to do really cool stuff by those guys. Frozen Soul got us on Wrecking Ball 1, which was our first show ever. So it was like we were really privileged to be able to have that be our first show. And they got us on the next one, which was even bigger and better. And so they've done a lot to help us grow. And then Creeping Death asking us to go on tour with them was huge in helping us grow. So it's really more of a helping scene and more of an uplifting scene than it is competitive, honestly.
That's super cool to hear.
Yeah.
And like I said, you guys have a thriving scene. And like when I see something on Bandcamp that's like Texas, it's usually pretty damn good. I feel like you could always count on good riffing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's there's a high bar set.
100%.
As far as like, are you a big metal listener in your free time? Like, do you keep up with more current releases, or do you have like just certain albums you go to that you could call on?
I'm getting better, honestly, about like tuning in because all the stuff I've grown up on, like I've heard it, and now kind of trying to, I don't know, expand my appreciation of death metal. I've expanded like what I like about death metal. When I first started the band, I was kind of I was a lot more picky, and I was a lot more dead set on certain like production and stuff. But as the time's gone on, I've got more into different types of death metal and stuff, and so I've been paying a little bit more attention to new releases coming out, and to the best of my ability. I mean, there's a shit ton, so it's kind of hard to keep up with
Yeah.
all. But
Yeah, man, I'll sit there
I've
trying to just go through anything that really catches my eye on like Bandcamp, and it's like, holy shit! I just checked yesterday or last week, and there's so many other releases that have come out. So yeah, the heavy music scene is definitely booming.
By any
yeah,
chance,
it's
are you
insane.
guys
There's
planning
so
on
much good.
Yeah,
sorry. Are you guys by
yeah.
any chance going to be pressing a
There's a little bit
delay?
of a delay
Yeah.
going on. My bad, man.
Yeah, sorry for
Yeah, for sure.
interrupting you.
Oh, it's all good. I've figured it.
Are you guys going to be pressing that album on vinyl? Is that in the works?
I believe January, if I'm not mistaken. I think January is when they come in.
Oh, that's so great to hear. I can't wait to freaking order that. That's gonna be sick. As far as like what you guys have coming up, are you guys gonna be touring pretty hard, or are you guys already back in the lab making new tunes?
So, with me having a studio in my house, it's kind of hard to not immediately start writing new stuff. I kind of do that
Yeah.
passively. Right now we have two really big shows coming up. One is in Arkansas. With it's got it's the fest. It's got like Zabalba, Genocide Pack, Future.
Yeah,
It's got a
the
bunch of
Banging
bands.
in the Rock.
And then
Banging in the Rock. Yeah, yeah. We had who did we have on?
Dan.
Stan from
Stan.
Terminal Nation. He's putting
Yeah,
that
we had
show
him
on.
on. and he told us to go out there, and I'm so tempted to go out there.
It's gonna be fucking wild. Arkansas is crazy. It's one of our favorite places to play for sure.
Oh man, I need to go out there now. That just convinced me.
Yeah,
Your
and he
kind of
said
people,
that
Razor.
he said he saw you
You should.
guys.
It's wild.
Yeah, real shit.
Yeah, so Stan said he caught you guys early on in one of your first shows. He said I think that a couple of you maybe hadn't left the state yet, and he's like, dude, like even then he could tell that you guys are kind of a force.
Force to be reckoned with.
Yeah, it definitely the crowd in Arkansas definitely made us feel like that. There was a lot of people there. People were going crazy. So that was definitely that was our favorite show we played for a long time, really until tour. And that their scene is definitely popping, and it's something I'm looking forward to a lot. The other one is a show in DFW that hasn't been announced yet, and that's going to be at the end of December. And that show is going to be badass too.
Oh
Okay,
hell
we'll
yeah.
definitely have to check
And
that out.
that's all we got right
I
now. We have a couple of more, but nothing serious yet.
Yeah, I want to ask, man. So like, you guys are such a new band. We were talking about it a little bit. Um, with this new album, because I haven't seen a single negative review on it. Everybody's just talking about how great it is. How does it feel to like be such a young band and these up and coming bands as well, like bringing you out and really bringing everything up? How does that feel? I bet you it's like a surreal feeling.
I feel very lucky. Um, I definitely, I'm proud of us for really just like having fun with it and like keeping working hard. And we've been so focused on like doing everything right and staying in a good mood. Like we don't ever argue, and we try to make everything as professional as possible. And so when we see like how it's received really well, um, it's cool. It feels really good, and for the most part, we stay so focused on like what's the next thing, how do we keep the ball rolling, that we don't ever really stop and think like, oh, this is like surreal feeling necessarily. Like we want to keep working hard, and
Yeah.
being in a band is pretty tough, and so to see people enjoy it the way they do, it feels incredible. And we knew people would like it a lot. When we were just sitting on the album, we knew people were gonna be feeling it for sure.
How
It's
long
it's it's
did
a
it
fun
take?
album. It's heavy.
Yeah, it's fun, it's heavy. How long did it take to piece something like that together? Because you said you have a studio in your house, so I'm sure you guys were just grinding away at it. Like, how long did that take?
So, um, we played our first show uh, in July of 2021. So I
Okay.
think by our very next show, which was a week or two later, I had already started writing "Worthless Offering," which is the last song on the album.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So that song has existed at least since July, and then I think I wrote that and Shapeless kind of together, like in the same month or two,
Hmm.
and then Gathered. So we had at least three songs, right, like ending 2021. So I'd say, let's see, and then we went and tracked the drums in March. So I'd say between July of 21 to February is that's how long it took for us to write the songs. And we
Okay.
probably wrote four more songs, and we probably wrote many different versions of the songs that are on the album. Because when you have a studio at at your disposal, like you can change things all the time, and you can add stuff. So we kind of had to just know when to put a cap on it, and about January, February is when we're like, all right, I think it's done. Let's go, like really track it, and that's about how long it took.
Okay.
Oh hell yeah, yeah.
How
Now,
was
with
this?
go ahead.
Sorry, how was this process writing this album compared to Godless Voyage? Was it a pretty similar process, or more refined, or anything like that?
It was pretty much the same. I think I just
Okay.
had more of a grasp on what our sound was. I think when we did Godless Voyage, we really didn't know what kind of band we were going to be. We're just going to play some death metal and see like what felt good to play live, and what people wanted, what they liked about it. And so once we met up with Caesar and we started playing live shows a lot, it kind of it geared the way we write more towards like how it feels to play it all together. Because sometimes if I'm sitting at home and I'm working on a song and I'm structuring it or whatever, or Ian's working on a song and he's structuring it, um, it'll sound one way when we're demoing it out, and then when we get together, we're like, okay, it's not as flowy when we play it together. So then we'll take that at practice and we'll build upon it or whatever. So for the
Okay.
most part, the processes between the two are the same. But once we met Caesar, we started to take the demos and then take them to practice and then mess with them there and then go from there. So that was the difference this time around.
Oh, hell yeah. And that's a journey right there. That's so nuts how it all works out. Just talking. We've had a few. We're on episode 20. What is this, 4?
25.
And
25.
25, and yeah, it ceases to amaze me at the shit that goes on behind the scenes.
Are you a
Yeah,
pretty techie
yeah,
dude as far as
it's
like the equipment you use?
um I use extremely basic stuff to make demos, and then as far as what was used on the album, that was all Taylor, as far as like finding tones and everything. But I keep it pretty simple at my house. Like I just have a what do you call it? A PreSonus interface, so it's not expensive at all. And then I just have like a simple Superior drum programming for just for demos, and it's a pretty simple setup. I don't go too wild, and then I usually use amp sims. There's a lot of really good amp sims you can use for demos now. So everything I've got is really under a couple $100. Honestly, it's pretty cheap. And Pro Tools
Um,
itself, if you buy the whole thing at one time, I think it's probably over $1,000. But I rent it, so it's like $30 a month or 34 a month. So
Oh
oh,
hell yeah!
I'm doing like the basic version just to write.
It's crazy that just even with the basic version that you were able to produce something like Godless Voyage, where I was just bumping that shit as soon as I heard it for like a week straight, and that was the first thing that was like, yeah, I would play that nonstop for like a week, and I was just like, damn, this is fucking hard.
as a guitar player, are you self-taught or did you
Yeah,
take
sometimes I
lessons?
forget we even have that
Oh, sorry.
EP.
Yeah.
Sorry, you cut it out.
Oh, self-taught for sure.
Okay, nice. Do you
Oh,
think like
self-taught.
when learning, is it better? Do you feel like as far as being self-taught, maybe you think of things different ways?
I've always said that I was glad I didn't get lessons because I feel like sometimes the more you know about music, the more boxed in you feel when you're writing. Um, and so there's a lot of things I'm not good at that if I had taken lessons, I would be better at, especially soloing. I think there's a lot of lead stuff that you got to really go to the fundamentals of shit to really understand. You can't just, I mean, you can noodle, you can do whatever you want solo, especially in death metal. It could be what the fuck ever. But but I think there's something to teaching yourself and not knowing what you're doing there's like a freedom and a creativity that comes with that. And so when you start making stuff sound good to you, it's like more surprising. I feel like the more you know about guitar, the less magic there is to it. And so it's, I don't know. And I actually learned that once I started on Pro Tools and I started structuring songs and like learning what drums are really doing and like writing the songs with drums. Um, you find out like, there's only so many drum beats in metal. And so you have to take the drum beats and stuff that are in metal and you got to like do something with it to make it fresh. And it's almost like the more you know about the process, the more you have to challenge yourself to make something creative because you could just see the formula. And so, yeah, I think self-taught, there's definitely like a creative magic you might not get if you're just learning chords and everything. That's just my personal opinion.
Okay. I
Al's over
heard.
here. He's been trying to learn. He's
Yeah.
trying to self teach himself. So he's that gives him a little bit of a sparkle in his eye. You could
A little
see.
motivation for the fellow over here.
That's
Yeah.
yeah, that's refreshing to hear because I'm like, where do I even
Yeah.
start sometimes? But it's good to hear. Just mess around and maybe you'll come up with something.
He's over here, got the guitar flat on the table, trying to boom, boom, boom,
Oh,
boom.
come on. Don't
Yeah,
do me
that's
like
what I'm
that.
doing.
Oh shit.
So I listened to
Yeah, I say
your
all the
interview.
time that I don't know how to play guitar. Like, I understand metal, I understand how to do it, but I don't know how to play guitar.
Okay, that's good to know. I listened to your last interview you did with I think it was the heaviest podcast, and you had mentioned that you did jujitsu for a while. Do you think like maybe some of your martial arts background helps you in like your songwriting, just music in general?
There's a lot of discipline that goes into it.
I think I think jujitsu changes your mindset about everything in life, like in general. I think once you get really heavily involved in martial arts, it changes who you are as a person. So naturally, the music you write will be, it'll reflect like I guess like how you are. And so jujitsu has essentially shaped my entire life, thinking wise. So I could definitely see that. I mean, I don't ever think about it when I'm writing. I don't know what I'm thinking when I'm writing. I'm literally just trying to make heavy shit all the time. It's never stop to think like where it's coming from or anything. It's just kind of just is what it is.
Okay. That's cool to hear that there's that it changes you, so in some level it may affect you.
Yeah, whether it's in your discipline of sitting there and
Yeah.
actually getting it done, but yeah, it definitely helps out some way. I could tell.
Yeah, I'd say so.
As far as like as far as touring goes, like were how was it like traveling from point A to point B? Like was it cool to be able to like try different food that maybe isn't in your area? Was that something you guys had fun with?
Oh, that was probably that was the highlight of the tour for me. I mean,
Oh hell yeah.
I had the best food of my life that month, with a doubt. Never forget all the food I ate that whole tour. Well, I mean, none of us will. We also ate a lot of McDonald's, unfortunately.
Oh, that's awesome right there. That's probably I can't. You know what? That has to be one of the best parts is the different types of food that you get to try on the road. That's like something that you could look forward to.
Oh yeah.
What were some
Oh yeah.
standouts things that you ate, you would say?
So I had a what was it? It was a California burrito, um, from Filiberto's. That was probably the best burrito I've ever had. Um, I had sushi in Detroit, I think.
Oh,
It was either
okay.
Detroit or Chicago, and then that was the best sushi I've ever had.
Oh shit.
I'm trying to think what else. Oh, I mean, we ate tacos in like the first 2 weeks. We had tacos in every city we went to, and then like the last 2 or 3 weeks, we had pizza in every city we went to. And so I
Hell
definitely
yeah.
definitely had the best tacos in my life. I can't really remember
Where,
exactly.
where, where I gotta ask now, did California have the best tacos? Or because I know you guys came through here. We are known for our Mexican food. I have a theory that the place that we live in, we have the best Mexican food in the world.
California definitely killed Mexican food. I think that was the standout food when we went to California for sure.
Okay.
Tacos.
That's good to hear. And the question I always like to ask people on here is, how
Yeah,
does metal get you high, man?
honestly, the guitar tone, guitar tone, hearing like different like there's so many different kinds of guitar tone that with metal and with hardcore and stuff. So I think that's like the thing I love about it the most is just the sound of the guitar and the different ways you can play the same genre with different types of tone and it will shape what kind of band that is, like in my opinion. I feel like a band's tone is a huge part of like who they are. And so when I think of like Cannibal Corpse, I think of guitar tone. When I think of Nile, I think of guitar tone. And so you can if you can imagine, I mean, like now that I try to do a lot more producing, I pay more attention to like drum sounds and bass tone. But I think at the end of the day, guitar tone is like really what fucking does it for me, honestly.
Dude, 100%. Like with so me and Al have been really like on Bandcamp you could follow specific things, and I actually follow just HM2. So it gives me all the bands that use an HM2 pedal. What kind of pedal do you use to get some tone like that? Because you guys have some fucking juicy riffs.
Okay, so live, I use a pedal that a lot of people in our realm won't even look at because of that are associated with it. But it's called a Precision Drive by Horizon Devices, and it's made by the. There's there's a certain clankiness. There's like a bright metallic clankiness it gives to whatever amp you use it with. My Marshall is very low end heavy. It's very gainy, like it already has a lot of gain.
Mhm.
And so the two together, really low, very clanky guitar sound, which is like what I'm always looking for. Kind of like a mix between like Cannibal Corpse and like Ride the Lightning tone, somewhere kind of just like that. Like I'm always going for, and but on the album, um, Taylor actually used his signature pedal. It's called an Oni, and he used that to make the tone. And so he
Oh
went like a whole
shit.
different route than I normally do, but he made it sound so good and so unique. Like no, I feel like nobody ever uses that to record, and that pedal is really new. So there's only a couple albums that have that pedal on it. So he made a really unique guitar tone that you don't hear a lot of.
Yeah, man. There was something about when I heard your guys' album, like the guitar definitely stood out, and that has to be it because, yeah, I mean, you know, it's used very seldomly. That definitely explains that unique tone that you guys have.
Mm-hmm. Love that amp.
Well,
I've made it a point to try to hunt one down. I think they're pretty expensive though, but I'm gonna.
Makes
Hell
sense.
yeah.
Well, man, we'll end it. The way we like to end it is, for you, if somebody newer to the genre is coming to you and says, "Hey, like I want to know about heavy music," what are the 3 albums you would hand them? And help them in getting in heavy music.
Sorry, you cut out a little bit. What? One more time.
Oh, okay. Sorry about that. I was saying the way we like to end it is, if somebody came up to you who wants to get into metal, what are the 3 albums that you would hand them to be like, if you're gonna like metal, this is the journey I'll give you.
Whew, metal, just metal as a whole, like not death metal, just metal.
Just
Um,
yeah, heavy music, be hardcore, just things that you think are essential listening.
that's tough. I would say uh, Annihilation of the Wicked by Nile. I would say Injustice for All, Metallica,
Ooh.
and
You got to
third
go
one
with some Metallica.
that's mm, yeah, you got to, you have to. They laid such a blueprint. I'm trying to think just in a broad spectrum. Probably either a Pantera album or a Sepultura album, and it would be tough to choose one. But I
Pantera.
feel like you can take you can learn so much from those bands. Like just the groove aspect, the technicality aspect. There's a lot you can take from those bands. I'd say I'd point them in that direction.
Got to go with the Texas boys. Come on now, Abbott Brothers.
Yeah, yeah. You can't skip out on that Texas boys.
Yeah, there's
Yeah,
no groove like that band, man.
yeah.
Well, man, we really appreciate your time. If anyone hasn't listened to Nine Choirs or Sleeping Under a Rock, please do so. Support this band. I saw you guys have merch on Night Shift merch. Fucking buy some shit. Help this band. We want this band to get huge.
Yeah, and is there anything that you'd like to plug, brother? Any
Thank you.
shows or anything coming
Thank,
out? Any merch drops?
so all I will say is keep your eye out for a split because we
Mm.
are talking with a homie band about doing a split, and pretty much as soon as we started talking about it, we both started writing for it. And I won't say who, but I will say they did recently just put something out like in the past few days, and it's already getting a really good response, and everybody's really stoked on it. So I'll just say that, and then yeah, go to the Arkansas show. That shit's gonna be wild, and we'll be announcing a tour here in the next few months. So I guess keep an eye out for that, and just I guess thank y'all for having me on here, and thank everybody for fucking with us. It means a lot. It really
Yeah,
Hell
does.
hell
yeah,
yeah.
brother.
Thank you so much for being for coming on and giving us your time, man.
Absolutely, thank y'all.
All right. Later, guys. Thank you.
All right, thanks, brother. Take it easy.